What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. The first episode is out. We've been waiting a long time to get back to Rick and Michonne's story. Several years now. I remember it was going to be a movie trilogy, and then that kind of fell through, and then they decided they was going to make it a limited series, and now it's sounding like there actually might be an ongoing series here. I don't know, but the first episode is out. Was it good? Well, yeah, it was entertaining enough. It definitely, there's a lot more that I want to see out of this. So I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I've been watching it since I jumped on the boat on season 2. Went back and rewatched season 1, obviously, but I haven't missed an episode since. And that includes the spin-offs. So big fan of the show. And some of it's been good, some of it's been not so good. You know, the main series, I've really liked the main series. I really liked Dead City. Fear the Walking Dead was good at the beginning. It kind of, World Beyond, never really loved World Beyond at all. I didn't like the Daryl Dixon show. I thought it had potential, but I didn't like it. So there's definitely some Walking Dead that I really like, and some that I just don't feel like do a good enough job. So obviously, you know, I'm going into this, I'm going to judge this show based on its own merits. Is this show good? And this first episode was obviously very Rick-centric. Michonne doesn't show up until the very end. And I don't know that it gave me the answers that I wanted. That's the problem. So Rick, the Rick that we know from the main show, he would have found a way out, or he would have died trying. I mean, that's just the reality of it. He would have found his way out of there and back to his family, or he would have died trying. He would have never gotten complacent. And so this whole complacent Rick and this whole, you know, being willing to accept captivity, it just felt out of character for him. I mean, we're talking about a guy who has been through the ringer. You know, he's lost his son, he lost his wife, he's lost so much, but he was still fighting. Looking at the war against Negan, he was still fighting. And he was still fighting against Negan against impossible odds. And I just don't know that this Rick felt like it was Rick in character. Now, people go through changes in life, and they're you know, as you get older, you change. But it still just didn't feel in character. So I don't know how much I like the answers that we were given, but the answers that we were given definitely explains his long absence. The world building was fine here, you know, creating this community. We still haven't seen a whole lot of it, but the people that he interacted with, I thought, added to the show. His friend who showed him the way through the sewer, the woman that he's working with, like his frenemy in the army. You know, all these people, I think, added to the show. But we signed up for this show to see the reunion. I'm not going to say whether or not the reunion happened in this episode, but I'm telling you that we haven't seen the payoff of anything yet. So I'm having a hard time judging this episode based on its own merits, because we really haven't seen where it's going. It could go to somewhere great, in which case this episode I'm going to look back on very favorably. It could go somewhere that I'm just not into, in which case I could look back on this episode completely unfavorably. So I don't know that we've set up a compelling villain yet. The older Colonel, General, whatever his name was, I don't remember it, but the guy who was sitting on the bench for a while talking with Rick, I'm assuming he's going to be our big bad of this season. And there isn't anything about him yet other than his gravitas that makes me think he's going to be a formidable villain. Other than the fact that I think we're kind of being told he's going to be formidable, he hasn't shown anything like that yet. So all that this episode did was really give us some answers. Some of the answers might have been answers that we didn't want. Some of them might have been answers we did want. But at the end of the day, all this episode really did was give us answers. It didn't really push the narrative forward in any real meaningful way. So far, this is passable. I enjoyed catching up with Rick. I enjoyed having Andrew Lincoln back on screen playing Rick. I enjoyed being back in this world. So far, like I said, this is passable, but they need to move the story forward, and they need to do it quickly. And my guess is next episode, they're not going to move the story forward, because my guess, knowing the way that The Walking Dead likes to tell their stories, is the next episode is going to be all about Michonne. All about Michonne, and then getting up to the point where we left off at the end of episode 1. What has Michonne been doing all these years? And it's going to be answering those questions. So it's going to be spending more time in the Walking Dead past, not yet pushing the story forward. But by episode 3, man, they got to start pushing the story forward. They have to start laying the groundwork for a formidable villain. They have to start really not just answering questions on how are these two going to get back together and then get home, but also start telling a compelling narrative that warrants this story existing in the first place. So it sounds like I'm being very critical of this. I'm not. I liked the first like I said, I liked the first episode. I enjoyed spending time with Rick and catching up with what he's been doing. Like I said, some things I liked, some things I didn't like, but at the end of the day, it was good enough as far as answering the questions were concerned. But after, I'm assuming, we spend the next episode with Michonne, they really need to start pushing this forward, because it is a short series. It is a short series, so they have to start telling the story and creating a purpose for the story existing in the first place. Other than just, Rick and Michonne are back together, yay! It's got to be more than that. So, good first episode. We'll see if I still think that at the end of this series, or at the end of the season. We'll see if I still think that. Hopefully I do. So that's my take on The Ones Who Live, episode 1. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. While you're down there commenting, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.